What is the most expensive useless thing you have ever bought? In the very early days of eBay back when I was in high school, before PayPal and any sort of buyer protection, I saved up and bought a $200 refurbished NVIDIA video card for a computer I was building. That was 1/5 of my savings and the most expensive component, but I needed it to properly play my pre-ordered copy of Warcraft 3 in slightly reduced polygonal glory. The video card the guy sent me was defective with a green static line through the video output, and he refused to replace it because it still worked. I'm still pissed and haven't trusted eBay since then. I bought a car for $43K despite the fact that I commute to work on a bike and almost exclusively work when the weather is good. But it's not entirely useless because I do use it when the weather is bad, or when I visit family, or when I need to tow a trailer, etc. I've owned it for just over a year now, and I've come nowhere close to using it enough to justify not just renting a car each time I needed one. Every time I don't drive my car, I think to myself, I should be driving my car. I spend so much money on it. I have a pool and a few years ago I bought one of those automatic pool vacuum cleaners. I called it the Creepy Crawly because it was supposed to revolve around the bottom and climb the walls to keep everything cleaned. That thing was useless, it only moved around in the same small pattern endlessly. I tried numerous suggestions from online forums and eventually just gave up. It's in a box in my garage gathering dust. Biggest waste of money ever. I bought a GoPro and a bunch of fancy mounts, having overestimated how much cool stuff I do that warrants filming and grossly overestimated how much time I would have to sit down and edit the raw footage into something compelling. As it is, I have hours of footage from a few years ago sat on an SD card and a bunch of GoPro kit in a box taunting me for seldom doing cool stuff that would warrant using it. Dyson Supersonic hair dryer. I was so excited to get it because I finally had enough money, and you'd think for a $500, $600 product it would actually dry your hair quickly, but nope, confused face. I was so upset and bummed out, I returned it. I really didn't want to, but if it can't dry my hair quickly, what's the point? For reference, my hair is pretty thin and not super long. It's like 2-3 and past my shoulders. I'm starting to enter the buying useless expensive things period in my life. I have to come up with something for Christmas. I just bought $200 headphones that only work with a $100 amp on my computer. Also about to get a $225 watch. Both these things I can live without, but I just want an M. Funny, both of these things are considered cheap in the watch and audiophile communities. Lol. The wedding dress I never got to wear because my husband and I had to cancel our big wedding. It's never even been altered. It's too small now and it just makes me sad. But it was so expensive I can't just throw it out, so it hangs in my closet. I was hoping for maybe a vow renewal eventually, but I've had 2 kids since I bought it, so realistically, I'd have to buy a new dress. I mean, not exactly too expensive, but I purchased chess lessons. I've always wanted to be good at chess. I'm terrible and I wanted to learn. Anyway, purchased weekly lessons. Did that for about 2 months and haven't played since. I don't know exactly why I had a sudden urge to want to be good at chess. It was just an impulse thing. Haven't thought about it since. Well, I bought art before. Not 3 million a piece, but I once paid £100 for a very nice painting of a harbor, that I liked quite a lot. Art is useless, but art is nice. I also bought various things for decoration, including oddly shaped lighters, etc. It has no real use other than start a conversation or being funny to myself. I also once bought condoms. I have a lot more on the list, but the top would have to be a 2x2-inch pure tungsten block, polished and slightly beveled on the edges. My son had to have it, was the only thing he wanted for his birthday. So $499.00 later and he has a 5.2 pounds pet tungsten block he carried around everywhere for at least 6 months and still sits on his desk by his keyboard. I bought a large flat panel HD TV shortly after HD became a thing about 20 years ago. I paid $4 grand for that thing. A year later they were half the price and much higher quality. I only had it a few years, it became outdated so fast. My next TV I paid a little over $1 grand and had it for 16 years. Just replaced it with an 4K OLED that is just incredible. Ferragamo stilettos. They are now a half size too small and kill my feet, but so beautiful and sentimental that I can't bear to get rid of them. I don't even wear them anymore, they're just on display in my closet. They were my first grown-up purchase at a fancy department store after I got hired out of college and moved to a new city. Wedding. Had a great day, but sheesh. It cost $25,000 or somewhere thereabouts, and our photographer caused our first fight as a married couple. Wife says now many years later alt, we should have eloped. Yeah, you say that now. My mill would have a clear reason to hate me if we had done that rather than the vague one she has now. I have an Apple Pencil 2nd generation. I rarely use it, I thought I'd use it and I just didn't use it like I imagined I would. On the silly end of the spectrum, I bought the No Phone. I paid around £15 for it back in 2015. Novelty fun item. I used to trick the managers and work into thinking I had my phone out at my desk. Not exactly expensive, but when I was 11 or so, I paid 99 for an app thinking it's a driving simulator. Turns out it was just pictures of steering wheels from different cars. The only thing you could do was pressing the horn. It was always the same sound too. It's been more than 10 years and I'm still pissed. iPad, I only bought it because we were in a country where it was cheaper than in our own country. My colleague bought it, so I thought I might also need it. 10 years later, I have probably used it a couple of times. My relatives have played games on it when they are visiting, and that's about it. A car. Live in a 15-minute neighborhood with good transit but was married to someone who needed the status of owning a car. It stayed parked 6 days a week and we only used it on Saturday or Sunday. After the divorce I gave him the car. That was 10 years ago. I have been car free ever since. Automatic window cleaner. God, how many issues I had with it. Okay, it stayed vacuum deglassed without problems, but all the damn fuzzy things it left after cleaning, even with brand new parts and using cleaning detergent for this cleaner, was way worse than when I did it by hand. A Suburban. I was told I could transport full sheets of plywood in it, which was finally my selling point because I do a lot of work in my house. To this day, my wife has not allowed plywood in the Suburban. It was unnecessary, could have kept our 2 Trailhawks. A boat I never used. My dad said don't buy a boat, rent one a few times a year. As usual he was right and I paid a lot of money for something that sat in storage 99 at the time. The 2 best days of owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. The house that consumed 15 years of investments and savings and became all but worthless. I'd have been better off squandering it on holidays and toys and intoxicants of all kinds. I'd be left exactly where I am now, but I'd have had a lot more fun. Taxes. So much taxes. It mostly goes to pay off the cronyism of politicians past where I live. Shit public services. No kids, so I don't even get school out of it. I have to be close to the absolute peak of amount paid to services used ratio. Darn near every piece of real jewelry I have ever bought containing precious gems like diamonds, sapphires, emeralds, and the like. Fake stones can nearly always look just as good without the insane markups, and ownership risks and costs. Bought 3 Funko Pops of John Waters thinking they'd be worth something. Turns out they're only worth something if you can get him to sign them for you, so they're literally just sitting in my closet. I bought every single Skylander new in the package and collected them all and even paid top dollar for some of the odd exclusive ones on eBay. Is there enough facepalm for a collection like this? Man, facepalming. I have a handful of makeup products I don't use that I forgot to return, so I ended up wasting my money and I don't even use them. Don't forget to return things if you don't want it, guys. Sweating face. A mascot-sized Pikachu costume. I've mentioned it a few times on Reddit. I spent over $1,000 on a laptop so I could learn modeling software before I started my job. Ended up not doing much with it and the job taught me everything I needed to know anyway. To be fair, I don't think it would be useless to the person who purchased it, that might be to others, but I've so far spent around €200 on Black Series Clone Trooper figures, a $500 Canadian non-refundable Australian work visa right before the pandemic. It got approved 4 years later, and my life had changed paths at that point. Yup, that stung. A ghost hunting kit, complete with night vision, imp detectors, cameras, etc. $1,000. I don't even believe in ghosts. Just thought it'd be fun to bring out at parties. An art book set of Rick Baker's called Metamorphosis. It is a beautiful book of his monster makeup and special effects, but I have never paid $250 for a book set. Bought a designer umbrella thinking it would make me look effortlessly chic in the rain. It turns out, I look more like a drowned rat in designer accessories. Kirby vacuum cleaner that my wife bought from a door-to-door salesman, $2,000. Great vacuum, but we have 6-7 already. It's a Ferrari we never drive. When I was into the trading card hobby, probably a card for the personal collection. Have a few rare signed pieces that cost in the thousands, each. I bought a Patek Philippe watch for about $35,000. It's a mechanical watch, so yeah, pretty useless. It looks nice though, so I do like it and wear it. A printer when I started my MBA. I never needed to print anything and the ink was dry after 2 years. I couldn't go the way of Craigslist that can't do its thing without adult supervision. If we had realized how dumb it actually was, we wouldn't have bothered. Teeth. In particular, I have a very nice megalodon tooth and a decent mastodon tooth. Totally impractical and expensive, but I love him. I bought a 36 unicycle that I could not ride, traveled one single inch was 650 quid, and I later sold it for a huge loss. One of those inversion tables got hang upside down on. Literally used it 2 times a week. I bought it and then it sat in a corner. DJI Mavic Pro drone. Great item, but due to the cost of one repair I was too fearful to fly it. Sold it for way less. I know it's not really what you're looking for, but I've probably wasted $100,000 on weed or weird paraphernalia in my life. Office coat right before COVID. Changed job to permanent WFH. Now I have $870 amazing coat which I can't wear. My 2 dachshunds. 4,000 euros and they just lay there and request food all day long. They're the loves of my life though. Smiley face. Food. I spent like $50 on packs and didn't realize that it doesn't transfer to next year's edition. Never again. I bought a PS3 when it came out and pretty much only played PS2 games on it. Already had a PS2, so that was a waste. I bought PS5 when the Hogwarts game came out. Dropped like $1,000 and haven't touched it since I beat the game. Lol. A telescope in a country where it's perpetually cloudy feels like having a surfboard in a desert, a bit pointless. $100 for a tungsten cube. Literally just a paperweight. Still mind-blowing. A gold though, so I still like it.